Okay, we're going to set up a circle weaving on one of these cardboard looms that Mrs. Hayes has. You're going to need something to write with, masking tape, scissors, the loom, and then some different colors of yarn. This is a ball of yarn. This is called a skein. So to get started, you are going to tear off a piece of masking tape. You don't need very much. Set that aside. Choose your first color. This will be the color that you first start weaving with. You can always change colors whenever you are ready, so don't worry about how much of this color you use. You're going to find the number 1, and we're going to thread the yarn through that little slot. Flip it over to the back side. The yarn should go about to the middle, and you're going to tape that securely in place. And this is where you will write your name and class. Because when we're done with our weaving, we'll take it off of our circle loom, and Mrs. Hayes reuses these for other classes. Now you're counting in order. So we're going 1 to 2. 2 is across. So you're going to pull your yarn tightly into 2, and then 3 is next door. And pull that tightly. On the back, it should be a line. Make sure it's tightly in that little slot. And then across to 4, 5, 6, next door to 7, across to 8. Always kind of unwind a little bit of your yarn. Next door to 9, across to 10. Make sure you're checking the back every now and then. Make sure those are tight. These should not be loose. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Now we have this space for 29. Double check again that we have those nice lines on the back. And these should be nice and tight, nothing loose. If it's loose, go ahead and undo it and redo it, otherwise your weaving will be affected. Whenever you're cutting yarn for a weaving, I always suggest you use about an arm's length, so about the amount that fits between kind of outstretched arms, excuse me. When you cut yarn, it always helps if you wrap it around your scissor blade and pull it tight. That makes it a little bit easier to cut, especially when your scissors are not super sharp. Also helps if you use scissors specifically for yarn and fabric. Now, here's the tricky part. I'm going to take my end from 29 and I'm going to put my thumb in this space and then directly across. So between 27 and 1, I'm going to put my pointer finger. And you're going to pinch this yarn into almost like a bow tie shape. And it helps to have a partner who help you with this. So if you get stuck, have another person, raise your hand, have Mrs. Hayes help you. I'm going to take my end, slide it underneath my thumb, and grab it on the other side, and then pull that tight. Now I'm ready to start weaving, and I really can start weaving just about anywhere. Kind of helps to do that over here. And you're going to follow a pattern. So under, over, under, over, under, over, under. I'm going to kind of spin this as I work. And then every now and then I need to pull it tight so this loop does not become a big knot. So you pull that tight. And I went under that one, so I go over this one. Under, over, under, over. Again, pull that tight. It's going to start spiraling, and at first it's going to be really hard to see where you're weaving. But after you get the hang of this, it's going to start getting easier, and you'll start seeing it build up more and more and more. Again, gently pulling that tight as you work. Always keeping track of what your last weave was. These are called warp strings, and this is your weft. So the thing that you weave with is your weft, and these are warp strings. So check your warp strings. I went over that one, under, over, under. Once you get down to about a hand's length of yarn, or you've done enough color here, you're going to need to tie on a new piece of yarn. Now, if you're using a ball of yarn, make sure you unwind about an arm's length at a time. That way it doesn't get too tangly, and cut that off. We don't want to use too much more yarn than this. That's about 2 rulers lengths, otherwise it gets tangly. If you're using a skein of yarn, you want to find the end of the yarn and gently pull that out. We're never, ever, ever going to cut into the skein or into the ball to find an end. That ruins it for anybody after you. So when we tie on a new color, we are going to take our new color and you're going to lay it across your old color so that it makes an X. The one that's on top, we're going to twist it around and behind. So it makes a little twist like this. Then we're going to take the one on the bottom, so the left side, left over right, that makes another X. The one that's on top, that's the black yarn in this case, goes around, behind, and through. It kind of looks like a double pretzel. This is a square knot. We're making a square before we pull it tight. When I pull this tight, I try to hold all 4 strings and I pull that really tight. And if I tug on this, it might come loose. So that is why we are going to make sure that we pull this nice and tight. And you can actually leave these little strings, or if they bother you, you can cut them a little bit shorter, but if we cut them too short, you might cut your knot. And it doesn't matter if these stick up because we can stick them into our weaving later. Now you're ready to continue weaving, and my yellow will start once I have done a little bit of weaving and got rid of the end of that black. So it won't start right away unless you tie the knot right down here at the end. So now I'm going to continue my pattern, under, over, under, over, under, over,